Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again in our online classroom. I'm Rebecca Seja, Instructional Specialist, and we will be working today on extending our previous lesson of subtraction. We're going to start with sums up to 20, and we're going to see how far we can push it. I bet we can get up to sums of 50. So right now we're going to, I'm going to ask you to go grab just a pencil and some paper, nothing fancy. And then if you have a calculator, that would be great. Maybe a calculator already on your phone, or maybe a family member has one that you could borrow. All right, let's go ahead and gather those things together and come on back. All right, excellent. So before we get into our story problem today, what we're going to do is take a look at our important math vocabulary, and we're going to review first our place values and how important it is to understand where our place values are and what they mean to us. So that very first number that's on the far left, that's our ones column. That means that any number in there up to 9 is simply 9 ones, 8 ones, it's just ones. But it begins to change when we go to our next column to the left. Our next column to the left is our tens place. And our number here doesn't mean 6 ones, it means 60, 6 tens. Or if there was an 8 there, it would be 8 tens. So it would be the same as counting by tens. So if we have 6, we would be saying 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, correct. And then our next column over, which we may hit tonight, is our 100s column. So our 100s column means that any number that's sitting there equals that many 100s. So here this represents 3 100s, which equals 300. And then we get into larger numbers of thousands place. So this is 5 1000s, which equals 5,000. So we would read this number 5,360 because we have exactly 60. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started on our lesson. Are you ready? All right. So let's first read our story problem. Now, we have all this information that's provided for us, but we don't usually have that. So let's stay very focused on our story problem and choose our important words. Now, remember, we've talked about in the past that all of the vocabulary that's in a story problem isn't really important. The most important thing that is in there are the numbers and then those key vocabulary words that are telling us, are we adding or are we subtracting? Okay. Brent is sorting safety pins into piles. He has 15 safety pins. He sorts 5 safety pins into piles. How many safety pins are left to sort into piles? So we start with 15. He's already taken 5 out. We need to find out how many are left. So let's go ahead and just take our everyday piece of paper and let's just write out our math problem, okay? So let's look at, we have 15, and to help you stay organized in your writing, you can just draw a T. Okay, let me show you how that helps. We're going to write 15 plus, minus, we're doing minus because how many are left tells us we are subtracting. So let's read that last part again. He sorts 5 safety pins into piles. How many safety pins are left to sort into piles? Okay, so we have a nice strong subtraction sign and 5. Okay, so if we have 5, take away 5. So if we have 5 and we take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, How many do we have left? We have 0. Very good. We just have 0 left. Then if we're having 1 minus nothing, if you have 1 piece of candy and nothing gets taken away, how many pieces of candy do you still have left? 1. Very good. So let's put our number in. 0 in the ones column. And what number is going in our tens column? 1 is going in our tens column. So 15 minus 5 equals 10. Very good. All right. Next we have Ryan and Danielle are unpacking light bulbs. Ryan unpacks 18 light bulbs. Danielle unpacks 10 light bulbs. How many more light bulbs does Ryan unpack than Danielle? How many more? Now here it's showing us that we're doing subtraction, but again, if you didn't have that information, just cover up that bottom part. Just take your hand and like cover that bottom part. We need to know that the important information is 18, 10. How many more light bulbs does Ryan unpack than Danielle? Okay, so let's go ahead and make our T mark to help us keep our ones and our tens nicely organized. Let's go ahead and write 18 minus 10. Very good. Now, if we have 8 and we don't take any away from 8, you have 8 pairs of tennis shoes. And you don't lose any of your tennis shoes. You don't let anyone borrow them. So you still have how many pairs of tennis shoes left? Started with 8. You didn't give any away. So you still have 8. Very good. 8 minus 0, we know, equals 8. Then very simple. 1 minus 1. If you have 1 pair of tennis shoes and you give that 1 pair away, how many pairs of tennis shoes do you have left? You have 0. No pairs of tennis shoes left. See how making our T mark helps us keep our information nice and organized? We know that our ones column is here, and we know that our tens column is here, and that our answers are nice and organized. So let's go ahead. Let's put in 8. And we don't need to put anything here because we know that that is 0. Okay? Now, we can always go and we can double check on our calculator, right? So we can clear it. No matter if it says 0, we can clear it. We can put in 18 minus what? 18 minus 8? No, not 8. 18 minus 10. 18 minus 10 equals 8. Very good. All right, let's go to our next problem. 13 minus 2. Brent is sorting safety pins into piles. He has 13 safety pins. He sorts 2 safety pins into piles. How many safety pins are left to sort into piles? How many are left? So remember, that was part of our vocabulary words for our subtraction, right? How many? We took them away. We have minus, equal, solve, less, difference. And let's go ahead and add our left? How many are left? Okay, so we have in our ones column 3 minus 2, and in our tens column we have 1 minus nothing. Now remember, there's many ways that you can solve this, and you can choose how you are going to solve your problem. Now, I just take my paper and I fold it into 4s so that I have squares to write on. Just my simple way. I make my T chart, okay? So we can write, you want to take just a second and write your T chart? Good. We're at 13 minus 2. Does yours look like that? Very good. So now let's look at some other strategies that we have on how we can subtract. Now you've done touch math before, and we know that we can do 3 dots on our 3, right? But if we're subtracting, we don't need to put dots on our 2 because we're just going to mark off on our 3. Okay? So 3 minus 2, and if we take 2 of our dots away, how many dots do we have left? Yes, 1. Now we can also put up 3 fingers and take away 2 and have 1 left, right? We can also make our 3 hash marks, and then we can mark off 2 of those hash marks. We just click them right off, and we know that we have 1 left. So that equals our 1, right? Now, if we have 1 tens, right? But we don't have anything at all that's below it. So if we have 1 pair of tennis shoes, we don't give any tennis shoes away. How many pairs of tennis shoes do we still have? We have 1 pair of tennis shoes. Very good. So what is our answer? 13 minus 2 equals 11. See how our chart helps us stay nice and organized? We know where our ones column is, right? We know that our ones column is here, and we know that our tens column is here. So we can put our answer in, 1 and 1, which equals 11. 11 is made up of 1 10 and 1 1. So let's look at our calculator. We always clear. We have 13 minus 2 equals 11. Very good. Get clear before we go back. All right, ready to go to our next one? Now we're getting to a little bigger problems. So we're going to have sums that go over 20 if we were adding them. But we can do this. We're going to be great. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to manage and see. Very good. Mary Beth has 17 cans of spray paint. She uses 6 cans of spray paint on the scenery. How many cans of spray paint does Mary Beth have left? So let's look at our numbers. 17 cans, right? She used 6 cans. So we need to figure out how many do we have left. Very good. So 17 minus 6, and we have to see what that equals. Now, anytime that we have a horizontal math problem, we always want to take that and write it vertically. It's going to be so much easier to solve. So let's take our time, make sure we organize our ones column, and make sure that we organize our tens column. Okay? So go ahead and make your T mark. And let's write 17, a 1 in the tens column, a 7 in the ones column, and 6. And make sure you draw your subtraction sign. Very good. Now we have some choices. If we use touch math, we can draw our 7 dots. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? You can draw your 7 dots. And we can mark off 6 of those dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then how many dots do we have left? Right, we have 1 dot left. So this would tell us that 7 minus 6 equals 1. Now, what's another strategy we could use? We could use our dots. You're right, we could use our fingers. Very good. Right? And we could draw our hash marks, right? We could do that as well. So we can make 7 hash marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we just take away 6 of them. And we know that we have 1 hash mark left. Our answer is 1. Now in our tens column, how many do we have there? How many do we have in our tens column? 110. Are we taking anything away from it? No, nothing is there. So 1 minus nothing is 1. Very good. So our answer of 17 minus 6 equals 11. Very good. So let's go ahead and write in our answer. Let's double check on our calculator. We clear it even though it says 0. Make sure if you're using it on your phone, you're super careful because those are just by touch. And sometimes you can hit the wrong number without realizing it. So we need 17 minus 6 equals 11. Do we match? Indeed, we do. 14 minus 10. 14 minus 10. What's the first thing we're going to do? We have a horizontal problem. We have to turn it vertical. Yes, very good. We're going to draw our T mark to help us line up our numbers. Okay, so 14 minus 10, nice and straight in our lines, our ones column where the 4 and 0 is, and our tens column where our 1 is. Now, if you have 4 pairs of tennis shoes and you don't lose any of your tennis shoes, you don't give any of them away, no one borrows them, how many pairs of tennis shoes do you still have? 4. Very good. 4. Because we didn't take anything away from it, right? 0 means nothing. Now let's look at our tens column, right? So let's look at our tens. we have 1 minus 1. Now there, if we have one pair of tennis shoes and we take that 1 away, how many do we have left? 0. Very good. Now you don't really have to write the 0, but it helps you know that you completed the math problem. So 14 minus 10 is 4. Very good. Let's check our calculator. Always hit clear. 14 minus 10 equals 4. We match? Yes, indeed we do. All right, let's do one more this evening, just one more. All right, 17 minus 4, but let's read our story problem and let's find our keywords. Randy and Ryan are hammering nails into the scenery. Randy hammers 17 nails and Ryan hammers 4 nails. How many more nails does Randy hammer than Ryan? How many more? Absolutely, we're subtracting. So we draw our T-bar first. Even though they've given us the answer, we see down there we're subtracting. It's important we know our vocabulary. And let's go ahead and fill it in. You have yours all done? Very good. Excellent. So now we have 17 minus 4. So 7 minus 4 in our ones column, right? We can draw our 7 dots, take 4 away. We can draw 7 hash marks, take 4 away. We can put up 7 fingers, 4 away. So you use what strategy works well for you. You do which strategy works best for you. What did you choose? Did you choose dots, hash marks, fingers, or do you know? You just are able to know in your head that 7 minus 4 is 3 is, right. I did hash marks, so I know that 7 minus 4 is 3. And then 1 minus nothing is 1. Very good. So what is our answer? 17 minus 4 equals 3. Very good. All right, let's put our answer in. Find our number 3. And we are good. Listen, thank you for joining me this evening. Don't want to keep you long. I know that you've had a very busy day or getting ready to have a busy day, however you're doing your lessons. But thank you for joining us. We'll be in our upcoming lessons. We will definitely be doing sums up to 50 and all the way to 100. So be prepared. Remember what your strategies are. But until then, please stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy being with your family. Have a good evening. Public schools, and we're very glad that you were able to join us. Now, in our last math lesson, we began to work on subtraction. And so today we're going to extend that lesson a bit by looking at our subtraction problems as vertical. So as you notice on our document here, you see that our numbers are beside each other. And let's see how we do and how do we begin to switch so we make it a little bit easier to complete our work. So before we get into our lesson, let's take a look at some key subtraction words that are going to help us in our problem. So let's look at place values. Remember before we talked about how your place values tell you how much each number is worth. So your very first number on the right is in the ones column. And so that's worth one of each, however many that number is. So if it's 9, then it's 9 ones. Your next column is the tens column. So we have 6 here, but it doesn't mean 6 as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It actually means 60. Counting by tens, we would say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 60. Then our next place value over is the hundreds. So this is the equal of hundreds. It would be 3 100s. And then a very large number of 5 being in the thousands place. So this is equal to 5 1000s, which gives us 5,000. Now let's skip down to another page and let's just look at subtraction vocabulary. So today we're going to be looking at taking away. We're going to have a whole number and we're going to take something away from that whole number. So the vocabulary words that we could look for would be take away, minus, equal, solve, less, difference, remain, and difference. I see we wrote it twice, so let me go ahead and take that off of there. Here are some examples of how we could work that out. It could be if we have 5 and we're taking away 3, we X out 3 and we have 2. So let's look at the symbols that are being used. This is a minus sign and this is an equal sign. So 5 minus 3 equals 2. And of course, that's a very basic problem. Now we can look at the more complicated subtraction. And here you can see that we don't have a picture representation of it, but we know we can always draw it out based on our place value columns. So just as we talked about in our first slide, how that very first number is the ones and our next number is the tens, and our next is the hundreds, we can look at our slide here and know that 8 ones minus 1 1 equals 7. Now here in this particular one, they're borrowing, and we'll work on that in the next couple of lessons coming. But we're actually borrowing a 100 over to our tens, so we are able to subtract out 5 and get 7. But we're actually subtracting out 50 and getting 70 because of our place value. And we know that we only have 6 left because we took 1 away and we bring our 6 down. Now that's a lot of steps and we'll look at that later, but right now we just want to look for these keywords in the story problems that we're going to be working on today. Now when we were last together, I challenged you to think of how many story problems did you complete in a day that you didn't even realize, because remember, story problems are just real life events. So I'd love to hear from you sometime. Let us know what your story problems were, and hopefully you had a chance to look ahead at some of our lessons here today. So let's take a look. So we have 49 minus 11 equals, and we have to find out our answer. Now, as I told you before, the words are important, but the most important are 2 things. It is our numbers. Here we see it's 49 and 11. And sometimes you'll have more than 2 sets of numbers. And we're looking for what are the keywords that are going to tell us what we're going to do. So let's read our story problem. Mary Beth is plugging in stage lights backstage. She needs to plug in 49 stage lights. She plugs in 11 stage lights. How many stage lights does Mary Beth have left to plug in? Now, having left, that's one of our key phrases. So we know we're going to subtract. Needs to plug in 49 stage lights and needs to plug in 11 stage lights. So let's look and see if we can use our pen here to underline our important words. We know that 49 is important, right? And we know that 11 is important. And then we know that our most important words are have left, okay? So how do we do this? How do we begin to solve this problem when it's going across instead of up and down? So let's see if we can write it up and down, and we'll see if our pen stays. $49 minus what? 11. Oh, it went away. Let's see if we can get it to stay. Equals. So 9, it disappeared on me. All right, let's see if maybe, I think that will go away, or we will lose it if, let's try one more time. And if not, we will try another way, okay? 49 minus 11. We know that 9 take away 1 is 8. So our fancy pen is not going to work today. So we know that we can use just a piece of paper and that we can write our math problem out on a piece of paper, correct? So let's get a piece of paper. You can pause the video and go and grab a piece of paper. Any scratch paper is fine. We don't need anything fancy at all. So just grab a piece of paper and a pen, and let's write out our math problem going vertically, okay? So if we have 49 and minus 11, okay? We have 49, and it went backwards on us. That's okay. We can write it backwards. So we have 49 minus 11. Now, what is going to be the best way for us to solve our problem? Let's think about that. We could draw our dots. We could draw hash marks for each place value. What will be the best way to solve our problem? Well, why don't we draw hash marks? And let's see if that helps us. So let's do 9 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1 mark. Okay, so let's do, okay, and we're going to take away our 1 mark and count how many do we have left of our hash marks. Okay, and then let's count them together. You ready? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 ones left, correct? Because we are in the ones column. Yeah, we marked off our 1 hash mark, and we have 8. So now let's look at 4 minus 1. Now we could be as simple as put up 4 fingers and take away 1, and we know we have 3. Okay, so our answer is 38. So 38 what? 38 light bulbs, 38 left to plug in. We always want to label our answers. Now here our answer is labeled for us, but we need to remember to label it ourselves when we're just working on a paper. Okay, so let's turn off our fancy pen, and we are going to put 38. Very good. That's excellent. Now we can always check our work by using a calculator. If you have a calculator accommodation, and remember, you're in high school, you're old enough to know that you have an IEP and that you have accommodations. And if no one's ever talked to you about your IEP and accommodations, just ask your parent, your family members, or your school teacher, and they will be able to explain it to you. So let's have a calculator, and we know that we're going to subtract out. We're going to subtract out 49 minus 11. So let's put in 49 first, and we're going to use our minus mark. This is division, multiplication, addition. Here is going to be minus 11 equals 38. Very good. So you see, I just went online. I searched for an online calculator, found this one that was nice and big and easy to work with, and you can do the same. All right, very good. Let's look at our next problem. So our next problem is vertical as well. So we know that we can write our math problem vertically. Here we're horizontal. So let's read our math problem. Let's read our story. Ryan and Randy are stacking programs. Ryan stacks 38 programs and Randy stacks 24 programs. How many programs does Randy stack altogether? So program is not like a program on TV. A program is like a little booklet that tells us about the play, or it tells us about what the activities are for that particular day. So Randy stacked 24 and Ryan stacked 38. Ryan, how many more, remember that was one of our clues, how many more programs does Ryan stack than Randy? So let's go ahead and write out our math problem. Remember, you can use any paper that you have there. Okay. So we have 38 minus 24. So we just write it right on our paper. Okay. We're making very, very careful not to do this. You want to be careful that when you're writing it, that you are not getting your ones and tens columns mixed up. See how when I wrote this one, I'm not quite lined up like I am on the first one, right? There I know where my ones are and I know where my tens are. On this problem, it's a little harder for me to see, do I have it lined up? So we don't want to do that. We're just going to X right through that. We're going to go with where our ones and our tens are properly lined. So first we look at our ones column. What are we subtracting? What are our two numbers? Yes, 8 and minus 4. So we can do a couple of things. You can very quietly put out 4 fingers on one hand and 4 fingers on the other hand. And we can just quietly take away 4 fingers, and no one knows we did it. And we know we have 4 fingers left, right? The other way is we can make our hash marks, correct? Or you can make your dots. Now we'll get to the calculator in a little bit, but let's always try to do our work, work it out on paper before we go to the calculator. All right, so we have 4 and 4, and we know we have 8. And we take away 4, we know we have 4 left. So we have 4 ones or 4 tens? We have 4 ones. Now in our tens column, we have 3 minus 2, correct? We have 3 minus 2 in our tens column. So we can just quietly put 3 fingers on the table, and we can take away 1 finger, and we know we have 2 fingers left. Or you can put 3 dots on the 3, And you can X out one of those dots, and we know that leaves us 2 dots. Oh, that leaves us, did I make a mistake? I did. I should have X'd out how many dots? Yes, I should have X'd out 2 dots. So let's look at that again. So if I made 3 dots and I X'd out 2, how many dots do I have left? So 3 minus 2 is 1. Very good. So our answer is that Ryan stacked how many more? 14. He stacked 14 more programs than his friend did. Now let's check our work. We'll go to our calculator and we're going to hit clear because our other answer is there, and it's the C that always clears out our calculator. So let's get rid of that. And let's look again at what our math problem is so we enter it properly. So we know that we need 38. And then where is my minus on here? This minus, see, this is addition, multiplication, minus, good, 24. Very good. What is our answer? We press equal to get our answer, and our answer is 14. So let's go to our math problem, and let's go ahead and finish that. Very good. Excellent. Let's go to our next one. Mary Beth is plugging in stage lights backstage. She needs to plug in 29 stage lights. She plugs in 0 stage lights. How many stage lights does Mary Beth have left to plug in? Now this one's kind of just really easy. If you were supposed to plug in 29 stage lights and you didn't do any yet, how many do you still have to do? You think that just in your head? You're right. You have to do 29 because you didn't do any yet. So can we find the number 29 on our chart here? Where is the number 29? So we have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Very good. So then we can always still work out our problem. We have 29 minus 0, right? We have 29 minus 0. So 9 minus 0 is still, right, if you had 9 pieces of candy, but you didn't give any of your friends any candy, you still have how many pieces of candy? Very good. You have 9. And then we know under the 2, there are no numbers. So we just bring our 2 down. And we have 29. Very good. And then, of course, we can always check again on our calculator. We press clear. We put in 29 minus 0 equals 29. Very good. All right, let's see. You guys are on a roll. You're doing really well. Now, in this problem, we start to do carrying. So I think instead of doing carrying today, why don't we hold off on carrying and let's take a look at some addition problems that go up into the 50s as well. All right, and we can get into carrying at a later time when we have a few more manipulatives with us to help, okay? All right, so when we were together before, we did addition problems up to 50. So why don't we stretch ourselves a little bit and let's do addition problems up to 100. Excellent. All right. So here we have Randy is handling out. Oh, let's look at our vocabulary for our addition. Okay, so for our addition words, we're looking for altogether, add, sum, combined, increase, total, or in all. Now, there might be a few more words that we've missed and we didn't catch yet, but not a problem. We can always look at our story problem, use the words around it to help us learn, help us figure out, are we adding or subtracting? Okay, so here is our addition sign. Here's our equal sign. All right, let's go back to our lesson. Okay, Randy is handing out items to the students helping backstage. He hands out 56 nails and 32 safety pins. How many items, that means items is just a category word for things. How many items does Randy hand out all together? That's one of our key words. Now remember, you don't always see the special vocabulary and sentences to help you, but if we have 56 nails and 32 safety pins, how much is that all together? Now we can say 6 and we can count up 2 by going right to our ones column. So we can say 6, 7, 8. We counted 2 more, right? Or we can say 6 and have the number 2 up, 6, 7, 8. That's one way we can do it. Then we can do it our usual way where we put our hash marks by our numbers. So if we write 56, just a second, I had to remember that I have to write them backwards for you because the camera is being funny today. 56 minus 32. Oh, we're doing addition. I didn't change my little brain there. All right, did I do it right? Yes, 56 minus 32. So we can do our hash marks right by the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you make your hash marks? Good. Now what are we going to do? We know that we're doing 56 plus 2. So we're going to make 2 hash marks by our 2. Okay, does yours look like this if you used your hash marks? Very good. So let's count up all of our hash marks together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 6 plus 2 is 8. Now let's go to our tens column. We can write our marks there as well. So how many marks are we going to make for our first for 5? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for our number 3, we're going to make 3. Now what do we do next? We have our hash marks, right? What do we do next? We need to what? Add them together. So let's count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what number did you get? What was your answer? 88. Good. 88. So let's go ahead and put our answer in. 88. And we'll take up our calculator. We're going to clear our answer. We're going to put in 56. Now, which are we pushing here? Subtraction or addition? Addition. Plus 32 equals 88. Very good. All right, let's do one more addition problem and then we'll let you go for today. Okay, let's see how we can do with this one. So we have Miss B's class is counting items for the play. They count 33 light bulbs and 61 programs. How many items do they count all together? So you tell me what we're going to do. okay? We can just simply look at our problem and we can say that we have 3 and we're going to add one more, and that is 4. Good job. And then we can look at 3 plus 6. Now, if you're going to use your hands, you'll need both of them for this, or we can do our hash marks, or we can count up. So we can say 6. We put up 3 fingers and we can say 6, 7, 8, 9, right? We say the number 6, hold 3 fingers, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very good. We can always make our hash marks, or we can always pull items that we can count together. So let's look at our calculator. 33 plus 61. Let's clear our calculator. 33 plus 61. Let's see if we were right. 94. 94. Very good. All right, so I challenge you for the rest of the day and for tomorrow. Look at how many story problems you live every day. Kind of jot those down and maybe even talk to a family member about them. So glad that you were with us today. Please make sure that you join us again for our next math lesson. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy your time with family. Bye-bye.